What if I told you that the key to understanding the future of artificial intelligence isn't out there, but right in here? We're about to look at AI in a completely new way, not as some new kind of brain, but as a version of something you already have, your subconscious.
Yeah, I know. That's a bold statement, right? It sounds a little wild, but trust me, this one idea is the key. It unlocks not just how these powerful new tools work, but how you can really, truly master them. Because if you have a human brain, and I'm guessing you do, you spent your entire life managing a system that runs on surprisingly similar principles to modern AI. So today, let's connect those dots. So where do most people get tripped up? It all starts with one quiet, almost invisible mistake that pretty much all of us make, and it completely shapes how we interact with AI. I mean, it's such an easy trap to fall into. AI talks to us, it answers our questions. Sometimes it even cracks a joke. It sounds like a person, so we treat it like a person. But this leads us to a huge error in our thinking.
And there's a name for this. It's called a category mistake. We're trying to shove AI into the box labeled conscious mind when it actually belongs in a totally different box, the pattern machine box. And that single mistake, it's the source of almost all of our frustration with this technology.
Okay, so why does this matter so much? Because when you treat AI like a conscious mind, you set yourself up for some very specific and very predictable failures. Let's break down what happens when our mental model is just plain wrong.
When you think AI is a conscious being, you expect things from it that it just can't deliver. You search for intent behind its words, but all it's doing is following a pattern. You think it understands context, but it's really just completing a sequence. And then you try to hold it accountable like a person when it's actually just a very, very sophisticated prediction engine.
Just think about the two systems in your own head. You've got your conscious mind. That's the part that tackles new, weird, confusing stuff. It's slow, it takes a ton of energy, it feels like work. And then you have your subconscious, and by extension, AI. It's the complete opposite. It's built for patterns, habits, and just effortlessly predicting what comes next while it hums along in the background.
So this is the crucial shift we need to make. We need a new analogy. Instead of thinking conscious mind, think externalized subconscious. It's a powerful, pattern-driven autopilot. And once you make that mental switch, everything about using AI suddenly starts to make a whole lot more sense.
All right, so if AI is an autopilot, that brings up a pretty big question. How do we steer it? How do we take this cool analogy and actually turn it into a practical skill?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If it doesn't understand us in a human way, how on earth do we get it to do what we want? Well, the answer is simpler and frankly, more profound than you might think.
And there it is. This is the big aha moment. A prompt isn't just a command you're giving it, it's a spotlight. You're not talking to a person, you are designing the focus for a powerful pattern machine. You're telling it exactly where to point its attention. And this is why AI so often seems to fail. It's not that the model is bad, it's that we gave it a foggy roadmap. When a request is vague or the boundaries are unclear, we really can't be surprised by the outcome. The mistake isn't in the AI, it's in how we directed its attention.
So let's scale this idea up. Now that we get how to steer the autopilot, how can we apply this model to build better AI systems for our teams, for our organizations?
You know, the future of AI at work isn't going to be everyone just glued to a chat window all day. No, when we design this stuff correctly, AI will become quiet, proactive, and ambient. It'll be just like our own subconscious, a background assistant that helps out without even needing to be asked. It just becomes invisible. And this leads to 4 really clear design principles. 1. You have to give it stable patterns to follow because if you don't, it'll just make up its own. 2. You need a human override, a clear way for someone to step in when the pattern inevitably breaks. 3. You have to treat its memory like a habit. It's powerful for sure, but it also needs to be checked and reset. And finally, 4. Measure its success not like a person, but like an autopilot.
And this is exactly what that looks like. We have to stop asking if AI sounds smart or if it understands me. Those are the wrong questions. Instead, we should be asking, is it reliable? Does it handle weird situations gracefully? And maybe most important, when it fails, does it fail safely? We have to judge it by its performance, not its personality.
So let's bring this all home. What does this big shift in perspective really mean for you day to day? Well, it might be surprising, but you've actually been training for this moment your entire life. Think about your phone's contact list for a second. You don't just have people in there. You have businesses, you have services, you have systems. You don't open the weather app. You just kind of call up the weather. You've already learned how to interact with these invisible, non-human agents.
And this is just such a powerful way to frame it. AI isn't some strange alien mind we have to learn to communicate with. It's a scaled-up, external version of a system we already know intimately. It's a familiar partner, an old companion. So if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. The big AI revolution isn't about machines becoming conscious. It's about us finally having a tool that works like our own subconscious, a predictive, pattern-based engine that we can finally hand off all our routine work to.
And that leaves us with the real question. Now that you have this powerful, familiar companion, what patterns, what habits, and what work will you choose to give it? The steering wheel is in your hands.